Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be making a pretty awesome ring, so stick around and check it out. Alright, first thing we need to do is make our blank. The main body of the ring is going to be ebony, and it's going to have padauk pinstripes and an opal inlay. This is going to have a lot of layers, so here I'm just getting them all ready for gluing up. With so many layers, it's really easy for them to start sliding around once you put glue on them, and it's hard to get them perfectly aligned, so I decided to glue them up in separate parts, about 2 halves of the ring each, and then we glued those halves together once it had set up a little bit. I let the 2 parts set up for about half an hour. Now I just need to glue those together, and then I usually leave that clamped up overnight. And here is our blank all finished. It looks really sloppy right now, but we have plenty of material to work with, so let's get it chucked up on the lathe. First thing I do on all my rings is work on the inside diameter. Once I get it close to the right size 9.5 in this case, I put it on an expanding ring mandrel and work the outside diameter down to where I want it. I do finish my wood rings with CA glue, and those layers usually add up to about 1/4 to a half a size, so we do have some leeway on where we actually cut the inside diameter. Once the ring is down to an appropriate thickness, it's time to cut the groove for the inlay. I usually try to do about 1.5 millimeters for the depth on this, and 2 to 3 millimeters wide, depending on the style of the ring. I had a good depth on this ring already, but for some reason I decided to go just a little bit more, and as you can see, that was a huge mistake that left me massively upset.
Are you kidding me?
Fortunately, it looks like I didn't actually cut all the way through the material, The tool somehow just pushed off one section with shear force and left a very clean break that I was able to super glue back together off camera. That big white blob is what happens when you spray accelerator on CA glue that is squished between two pieces. This required a lot of extra cleanup, but I was able to save the piece this way. And you do know what they say about glued joints, they are actually stronger than the rest of the piece. So I guess you can say this ring is just becoming even stronger. So once I had that all cleaned up, it was time for the inlay. We're going to be using this Caribbean blue opal from the Opal dealer. Check out his website if you are looking for opal yourself. There's a link in the description. And I use thick CA glue for the inlay. Just put a small dab in the groove, add some opal, and then I use an X-Acto knife to kind of move it around, pack it in there, and to make sure there's no gaps. I just work a small section at a time, spraying accelerator every so often so my inlay doesn't start drooping. And once the inlay is all done, I give it a few good sprays with accelerator and leave it for at least an hour or so, just in case it needs to cure any longer. Then it's time to flush it all up and get this ring to its final width and shape. After doing this, there's usually several small voids. These have to be filled with superglue and sanded smooth. Then I just add a few layers of thin CA adhesive for protection while we finish up the interior of the ring. I just use a paper towel folded up long and skinny, then I cut off the end after each application. The lathe is spinning relatively slow while I do this so it doesn't fling glue around. As you can see, the inside is still gross from when I glued it back together, and it currently has very sharp corners. I'll need to round off those corners for a comfort finish and sand the inside away until it's about a quarter size too big to make up for the layers of glue I'm going to add later. I usually sand to a max of about 220 grit because the glue will fill any micro voids and make for a perfectly smooth finish, so there's no point in going to a crazy high grit. So I kinda explained my technique for applying the CA finish earlier, but here's a few extra tips. I rough it up probably about every 3 to 4 layers with triple-aught steel wool. This ensures a very smooth finish and that any imperfections are sanded out. I don't use accelerator unless I have to, but I do check that it's dry between every layer. If I do use any accelerator, I make sure to wipe it off before adding the next layer, otherwise the paper towel will just stick to the ring with the next layer of glue. And after about 10 to 15 layers, it should be ready to polish. I just have some cut up denim here loaded with the polishing compound. I use the white polishing compound as a pre-polish and the green as the final polish. It really makes a huge difference in how the ring looks. Links for the polishing compound I use are in the description. Polished up, we want to protect that finish, so I put some electrical tape on the mandrel for that. Then we just have to clean up the outside, add some more layers of CA, and polish it up. And here is the finished product. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you guys think of the ring. It's super fun to make and I think it has a very unique look. And that opal just shines in the light. So beautiful. If you liked the video, please subscribe for future projects. Hope to see you around.